Good evening, everybody. Christine Latimer calling to order the meeting at 6:34. We'll begin with roll call, please.
Mr. Brandt?
Present.
Mr. Doyle is excused. Mr. Fogarty?
Present.
Ms. Grewash? Present. Ms. Guayardo is excused. Ms. Latimer?
Present.
Ms. Patterson?
Present.
Mr. Smith is absent. Ms. Pirano?
Present.
Ms. Williams?
Present.
And Councilmember Taylor.
Present.
Thank you very much. And if we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
Seconded.
Do we need anything else beside that?
All in favor?
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. All ayes. Motion carried. Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Could I get a motion for approval?
Fogarty, motion to approve. Seconded.
All in favor?
All approved, say aye.
Aye.
All that do not approve? All ayes. Motion carried.
I'm sorry, I do have a question. Last time I was not here for the roll call, but I was here, I guess, 10 minutes afterwards. So I don't know if that would count as absent or.
In the minutes, I wrote at the bottom, I put a little asterisk by your name, and I said, I counted you absent in roll call, but then I said that you did arrive after roll call was held, so that doesn't count against you. You're present in our notes and everything that goes to the mayor, but it's written on there that you were there.
At this time, are there any citizen comments? No citizen comments were presented, and we'll move on to committee and department reports, starting with the financial report.
That would be me. And in your packet, there was an updated budget that includes the year-to-date as of September 24th, what we project the year to be, and then what we're presenting to council for 2026's budget. The only thing that's changed probably since the last time you saw it is that the potential ARC purchase is going to go through for 2025. And they did approve some special events for the rail district, the historical preservation, Mid-America Veterans, and a sports tourism partnership. Those are all new to the 2026 budget. So if you have any questions of those, let me know.
Thank you. And next to tourism and festivals report.
Sorry, guys, I should have just started up here. Okay, so we are in the midst of kind of getting everything ready for our fall and our holiday seasons over in the festival side of the world. Next Friday, we have Food Truck Fright and Film coming up out at Dames Park. That will be from 6 to 8:30. We are, the film portion of it will be new this year. I think we kind of mentioned that a little bit last time, but we will be showing Coco on the main football field. That'll start at 6:45. We will have some costume characters for some photo opportunities, and there's obviously going to be a bunch of food trucks there as well. It's usually a really fun time. That's definitely one that the kiddos, they love to come out to. You know, we see so many kids in costumes, and there's glow sticks everywhere, and like, it's always really fun, and there's always good food. So if you aren't busy or you don't have dinner plans next Friday, come hang out. We just wrapped up the tour season for the Healed Home in the Fort this past Sunday. It was the last day, and we also had a Homestead Day this past Sunday as well. I want to commend Mariah on her work with the homestead and the fort, the healed home and the fort this year. She has really like deep dive, kind of revamping what like the healed home tours and the fort kind of look like. She created the homestead days this year, which was kind of in partnership with MU Extension to bring some additional activities out to the fort and the healed home tours, just to give, people something else to kind of see when they're out there, create a little bit more awareness about it. And we actually had our highest revenue year to date. It was over double the revenue that we gained in 2023. I think we had like 10 private tours, a couple field trips, 2 field trips. Like it was like busting at the seams this year, which is great. It's something I feel like a lot of people, even residents in our own town, don't really realize is there. It's a super neat, tour. It's $5 entry. Kids are free. Like it's very, it's cool to be able to see that history, right in your own backyard. So, I know we have some ideas kind of brewing for next year too. So I think there's going to be some changes coming up, and it's going to be very exciting, out there at the Healed Home for 2026. So stay tuned for that. We also have our tree lighting ceremony and holiday market coming up next month on November 19th. That's another one if you guys have never been to. It's super cute. The kiddos absolutely love it. I don't know that anyone loves it more than the mayor though. He does. He loves that event. So we are accepting vendor applications for the market through the end of September. Looking for items kind of, along the lines of like gifts, crafts, artwork, collectibles, children's items. I know we have a lot of people that bring like ornaments for sale. Some people even have cookies for sale, things like that. There's also a lot of activities that will happen in the NPR. So it's just a fun night for the kiddos to come out. They get to see the tree getting lit, take their picture with Santa, do some fun activities. It's kind of a nice little, Wednesday evening break up to your week right before the holidays kind of get rolling. It's a lot of fun. There's usually a choir singing too, so it's a good one. And we are getting ready. I can't believe we're actually almost there already, but we are getting ready for Celebration of Lights. The park, Fort Jamal Park, closes down on the 13th. It's still open for, walkers. People can park at the front of the park and walk around. It's just close to vehicle traffic. And then we are starting hanging Christmas lights in October. Just wild every year, but here we are. The specialty rides for Celebration of Lights went on sale September 3rd, I believe. Train rides are sold out already. They've been sold out for weeks at this point. They are a hot commodity. It's super cute to watch all the little kiddos get so excited about the train. Sleigh hay rides are doing well. They're at about 63% sold out right now. Those typically also sell as well. And then trolley tickets, we still have a lot available. Trolley tickets are definitely, we have like 1,700 tickets available. So those are definitely something that's very, very neat. We've only been doing those for the past, I think, 2 years. But it's a fully enclosed trolley. A lot of people with little kids like to ride that because it's climate controlled, and parents don't have to drive through. They can sit there and actually enjoy the lights like with their kiddos. So trolley rides are they're fun. I like them. Drive-through and stroll tickets will go on sale Monday, November 3rd. We are doing 3 nights of the old-fashioned holiday stroll again this year. Those tickets do usually sell pretty quickly. We have a pretty steady, at least 2-ish sold out nights. Last year the weather was kind of goofy, so we didn't quite sell out all 3, but it's definitely a fan favorite. People look forward to it all year. It's fun. It's a lot of fun, and so we're pretty excited for it. And I'm also in the process of hiring some part-time staff for Celebration of Lights. So if you know anyone who you think might be a good kind of manager on duty type of role to work in the evening, kind of help work with the not-for-profit groups that we work with to staff the gates and things, send them my way because we need some extra hands out there. Otherwise, I'm there all the time. I think that's it as far as festivals. What questions you have?
Could you remind us of the days for the stroll and the drive for the celebration of lights?
Yes. So the Old Fashioned Holiday Stroll is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, December 7th, 8th, and 9th. And drive-through for Celebration of Lights, it always opens the day after Thanksgiving. I want to say this year that's November 28th, if memory serves. And then it always closes on December 30th. And those... the old-fashioned holiday stroll tickets are date-specific, so you do have to purchase one for either Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. But the drive-through tickets are open-ended. So if you purchase one with the intent to go on December 3rd, and you're like, oh no, we can't make it, and you don't get there until December 15th, your ticket will still work. It's open-ended. There's not a specific date or anything for those, which is nice. So, what other questions?
For the are all the spots for like the exhibits at the celebration like all filled?
The scenes?
There-
We have a very large park to fill, so no.
Yeah.
We do actually, within the past couple weeks, we have one new group who will be working with us this year to set up a scene, and then we've also gotten 2 new groups that are going to be joining us just to work at the gate this year.
That's awesome. And what's that? Is it just email the Parks and Rec team? What's that process if a group wants to do a scene that hasn't done one before?
Yeah, they'll reach out to me typically. Pretty much anybody within the Parks and Rec departments can get them where they need to go, but I'm the one who will communicate with them and coordinate with them to get their scenes put up, information translated to them, all the important dates, paperwork, flying back and forth, stuff like that. So,
are you excited to be putting the lights back up again?
yeah, yes, I think so. It's fun. It's one of those that like when you're done with it, you're like, look what we did. But in the process, you're like, oh my God, we have so many lights to put on the tree still.
You're very in your element when you do it, I think. But also, big recommend for the Christmas tree lighting. Great event. Great time.
For
My
sure.
3-year-old still talks about it all the time. We'll go again this year.
Well,
so,
I was going to say,
especially for
we'll
kids.
see you then.
It's so fun, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Regarding the tree lighting, what is the deadline for vendors to sign up?
I think end of September is when it's closed. Oh, that was yesterday. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know what day it is, Teresa.
I can probably still fit in a few if you have someone that's interested.
It is October already. Okay. Wow. Any other questions, guys?
Nope.
Good.
We'll go right into the cultural arts report.
Okay. You do not have to listen to me talk much more about cultural arts. I promised you that the last meeting wasn't my last meeting, so here we are. So I was gonna say I can feel her behind me. So this is Dana. She's our new cultural arts specialist. She started on September 8th. She comes to us with a wealth of knowledge, very well-rounded in a lot of things cultural arts related. I'm gonna let her introduce herself, and then she'll kind of tackle the cultural arts report side of things, as well as some of our other recap items. Obviously, though, we'll all be here if you have any questions, and I'm not just going to leave her hang out to dry. But I will let her introduce herself, and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Hello. Like she said, my name's Dana Degnan. Started back on September 8th. I'll give you just a little bit of background about me. I attended I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois, but I attended Stevens College in Columbia, Missouri. I got my Bachelor of Fine Arts in vocal performance while I was out there. And then I went back home and did a 1-year grad program with Northwestern University, where I got my Master's of Science in Leadership for Creative Enterprises, which basically means arts, business, and management. From there, or while I was in school, I had a couple of internships, one with Caesars Entertainment out in Las Vegas, Nevada, working with Wayne Newton, Donny Osmond, Celine Dion, all those guys. And then I was also at Chicago Shakespeare Theater for a time doing company management, basically taking care of all of the actors while they were there. From there, I moved to Chesterfield, Missouri, where I was the cultural arts specialist, essentially, for the Parks and Recreation Department there. I managed the Chesterfield Amphitheater, their art exhibit. They had a very similar program to Shape of Community that I also managed out there. And After I left Chesterfield, I was a producer at a small independent school for all their theatrical and dance productions. And then I took a hard right turn and I went to the community college, St. Charles Community College, where I was an academic advisor, but not in the arts. I was helping students become nurses, occupational therapists, and things like that, which was kind of, I started in recruitment, got into that. It was kind of funny, but they would ask me if I'd ever taken anatomy and physiology, and I said, I have no idea. I've never taken that before. From there, now I'm here, and my personal area of like art, like I said before, is music, but I also do a lot of fiber arts, crocheting, knitting, embroidery, sewing, things like that. So on with the report for O'Fallon Theater Works. The Curious Savage ran September 5th through 7th and 12th through 14th, and we sold 537 total tickets for this production. And we have had auditions and callbacks now for the holiday production, which is The Best Christmas Pageant Ever, the musical. Those auditions were on Saturday, September 27th, and then callbacks were the following day on Sunday. You want me to talk about Shape of Community? Or do you want to talk about Shape? I thought you were going to.
No, I mean, you can. Yeah, we're just going to next couple.
Yeah, the next round for Shape of Community, which is our public art program, the next round of Shape of Community sculptures will be installed next spring, and the call for new sculptures will go out in the next few weeks. That's been one of my first projects since I have started. So any questions about this report?
How was the attendance for the auditions? Do we feel like we filled all the roles? A lot of interest?
Yes, we did fill all the roles. I do believe we are looking at potentially finding one more actor for one more role, so I'm working on that right now with our director, Ren Adams.
For Curious Savage, did the Dine and Discover go well?
Yes, it did. That was before I had actually started, but from what I heard, the attendance was well and people really enjoyed it. I heard that they really loved having like the cast and the director there to ask them a lot of questions, and the cast got really into it. They made all the centerpieces for it, and people really enjoyed that little like nice touch that they added to that event. Well, then I'll move on to some old business. I talked a bit about Curious Savage, so we'll move on into fall, into the arts. That was my first big event here at O'Fallon. That was Sunday, September 21st at O'Day Park, and it ran from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. We had 21 registered artists, and we also had food and beverage, food trucks. We also had our beverage trucks, Tom's Coffee, the Small Batch Winery, and I think it was Chillax. Yes. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, we also had demonstrations. We had a caricature artist, which was a hit with the parents and kiddos. They loved the caricature artist. We also had a glass blowing demo that was very well received as well. We had music all day by Hudson and the Hoodoo Cats, as well as the Boogaloo Crew. Both sounded great. We would love to have them again. And the biggest piece that we were happy about was that we had almost no rain this year. In the last 15 minutes of load out, it downpoured, but otherwise throughout the entire day, all of our patrons were dry, we were dry, so overall good weather. Any questions about FITA, Fall into the Arts?
How did we do on vendors in comparison to previous years? And this may be a question for folks who've been there for previous years.
It was definitely lower. I don't have a good reason as to why either. We had a lot of applications come through. We had actually approved, I think when we approved them here, it was about 34, 35, somewhere around there. And within the last 2 to 3 weeks, I had sent out, acceptances, things like that. I had so many people come back and say, I can't make it for XYZ. Like, we had a lot of people drop in the past few weeks, or the last few weeks prior to it. Some of them were things out of control. Like some people moved away. Some people had scheduling conflicts that came up, but I don't know. That's something we had kind of talked about too. We had changed the timeline of applications this year to kind of push it earlier. I don't know if that helped or hindered, if people, all I could do is assume, but I don't know if people like maybe double applied for the same day and then decided one or the other. I'm not sure if that played a role in it or if it was truly just a fluke. and it very possibly could have been. But last year, I want to say we were about 32-ish artists or so. So it definitely felt a little more open this year, but it did not feel bare. It definitely still felt, like there was a good crowd. There were definitely, all the artists we had were great. I personally want to give a couple shout outs. One to Children's Lighthouse, who is the sponsor who actually does the children's activity tent. They bring in all of the activities for the kiddos. Teresa is actually volunteering in the tent this year. They bring in, what do they have? Like pumpkin painting, and they had like little pinwheel things, and yeah. Yeah, they provide all of it. So they bring all of that in, and they kind of run the activity tent and everything like that. And I think they've really found like a home kind of doing that. Like they did it last year as well. And this year she was like, we love this event. We'll come back forever as long as you have us. I'm like, we will have you.
Yeah, it was full. Every
Yes.
time I walked by, we were just
I
kids
didn't even
everywhere.
see you there. You were there. I didn't see you.
I was.
A ghost. I also wanted to say thank you to Bill and also two of our artists, Hannah and Sam, whose galleries are currently hung in City Hall in the Renaud Center. They served as our judges for FITA kind of. Bill, you were early committed, but Hannah and Sam stepped in at like the very last minute to be judges as well, which was great. Kimberlyn, was that her name? Kimberlyn Renee was our winner. She, her booth was great. We had so many people. Pop art, yeah. As a lot of people were coming by and they kept saying, that's so neat, that's so cool. And I can't argue with them. Undeniably a good one. So
You may see her in an exhibit somewhere in O'Fallon pretty soon.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
FITA serves as scouting for us as well. So it's always helpful.
One recommendation that I have for the Fall into the Arts, I think I mentioned last time, or I guess the first time it got brought up, was more push with marketing and social media. Personally, as one of the artists that was going to be in attendance, I just couldn't make it just because of not hearing back in time on if we were able to make it. I felt like there was a little bit of miscommunication with how to apply or if our application got sent through. And I felt like that already got resolved. However, moving forward, I do think that Instagram is really crucial for events like this, especially pushing and spotlighting individual artists. Me personally, with doing events in the past, it means so much when you get that post. It's just like spotlighting so-and-so. So like those artists that you guys are talking about, it might make more of a retention moving forward for next year to kind of have each artist, each booth, a post leading up to the event. And almost, I would say this event be like heavily advertised for weeks beforehand, with each week, every maybe 2 posts a week advertising or spotlighting the artists that will be there. So then those artists can then push that on their social media and kind of create more of a draw to the outward communities. That's just, I guess, a recommendation that I could have.
I do see that that's next in the new business section, so we're going to get a presentation from Kristen.
That's what I was going to say. Kristen will be here to talk more about marketing and stuff like that as well. I'm sure she'll kind of touch on your suggestions as well. I won't steal her thunder on that, but
Thank you.
Sorry,
but yeah,
the game.
noted. That's okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions about anything old business, or really anything at this point?
I don't know, if Jenna, if it's best for you or even for Kelly, just looking through the, can I ask a budget question? Yeah. Or to Kelly.
I can't see Kelly, but
Kelly, you ready
I'm
for
here.
it?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. You're ready for anything. That's the Kelly way. So the things that say 2025, 2025 approved, are we're pretty far through the year. Are most of these things happened? Like with the concession cart. Like, has that happened or been purchased, or will that be a thing that will be purchased before the end of the year, or is it?
With the columns I have in 2025, the projected that means I expect it to happen. Whether it actually gets purchased or if it's just encumbered under a purchase order, we expect it to fall into the 2025's budget.
So that concession card specifically would be part of the renovation project as well. So
Which is going to probably end up actually being purchased next year.
yes, but to Kelly's point, it would be, in a purchase order encumbered into next year's budget to where it would still officially, Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, officially come out of the 2025 budget. It's just we would get that in 2026.
So
That makes sense. And then one more question. So I see the line item for theater improvements, right? And that's a good, nice big number. And then I see all these specific things. Those are in addition to each other. Like, so it's like, for example, the blackout blinds are not part of the theater improvements as put on there for a separate line item. Is that right?
when the theater improvements were presented to council, it was all like a whole project. But specific things were given estimated prices. And so it depends on if we hire a contractor that does everything, or if we do a contractor that only does specific things and then we can purchase these other things separately. So it may be all part of one project through a general manager type, general contractor, but we didn't know. So with those things that were given estimates, I went ahead and listed them as separate equipment versus an improvement. That's an accounting thing. That's how they told me to do it. Okay.
That makes sense. Thank you.
I just wanted to chime in and say welcome to Dana. I
Yes.
got to meet you briefly before seeing the last play, so but officially welcome.
Yes, we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Yes, we are. Okay.
Could I just ask one question back to with only 21 artists showing up? So do they have to put a deposit down, and is there anything that is non-refundable if they don't show?
No, we've kind of toyed with an application fee for that sort of reason. With Heritage and Freedom Fest, we have an application fee where to literally just submit your application to be a vendor, you have to pay a fee to even be considered. We've kind of gone back and forth with that because there is a lot on the back end of logistics of trying to, we make the layout of where all the artists go and things like that. And if people drop, then you're, rearranging those things and stuff like that. So as of now, no. In the future, potentially.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the revised bylaws.
So for this, we'll just do an approval, just like we do the minutes or the agenda. So we'll do a motion and a second.
Okay, who would like to make a motion for the revised bylaws?
Yep, Fogarty, I will motion to approve the new bylaws.
Second.
All right, thank you. Next item is the 2025, oh, okay, please help me.
So you'll ask.
Okay, all those that approve, say aye.
Aye.
And those that don't approve? Nay? None. Okay, the ayes have it. Motion approved.
If you guys want to discuss anything about the bylaws, we can do that. If you have questions about the schedule going forward, I know it was do we meet in November or not, so we can discuss that too.
I am a little confused, so if I could just get some clarity with what.
Yeah, so the bylaws are just basically, it's an outline of what the Cultural Arts Commission is, when we meet, what the different roles are, all of that good stuff. So at the last meeting, you guys voted on the dates that we're meeting, so that's being changed. So that's why I had to update the bylaws. I emailed you guys all a copy, the copy that you have in front of you, and then also a red line copy that shows everything that I changed. So basically, we're just saying, yes, we want to change the dates to what we voted on the last time. And then I also changed I made it more specific on when we vote for the chairperson and vice chair. That'll go into effect next year. So that's what we just voted on, is that, yes, we're going to change the dates and that they're going to be set in the bylaws now. So once you guys approve it, then it goes to the city council to approve, and then it goes into effect. I know I kind of talked to Kevin a little bit. I can't get this onto the next council agenda. It would have to go on the one at the end of October, which is a week or so turnaround until the November meeting would be. So if I'm able to get it on, there's no issues. We could potentially meet in November, but it just depends on the process and getting everything on the agenda for council. So I'll kind of leave it up to you guys and then Jenna and Dana on what we do in November now that these are approved, if this goes into effect in 2026 or immediately.
Yeah, I think the kind of the tenor of the discussion was the November meeting is probably not going to be like a set in stone meeting according to the bylaws, because they probably won't go in front of council soon enough it was kind of a discussion whether we wanted to essentially add November as a meeting or whether we felt like we were good until we go into the next year. Whether we feel like there's anything remaining in the year that we need to discuss.
Okay.
What do you think, Kevin? You think there are things that are going to be remaining in November to discuss?
Well, I mean, I was late to this meeting, so I got caught up in painting props, and thanks to our council representative who shot me a text while I had a paintbrush in hand. I was like, oh gosh. So I feel like I don't know that I'm seeing a lot of items personally that we need to discuss necessarily. The only thing that would remain would be possibly something about the stage play in December, but it seems like that seems to be firing on all cylinders. So it's almost, I don't know that I see personally a reason to meet in November. I don't know the feelings of everyone else on the commission.
I think it's a wise and discerning take.
I agree.
I was going to say the only other thing that would kind of be in progress, I guess, if you will, at that point would be shape of community applications, hopefully, but they would still be in the acceptance process, so not really anything to vote on or look at anything like that as well. So I don't feel like staff disagrees with this going into effect in 2026.
Yeah, and it may be a situation where every year we're kind of having this discussion whether, I mean, I know we have November as a held meeting, but I don't know if we come to the conclusion during October's meeting that we feel like it's something we don't need to go forward with, if that's something we could talk about at those meetings, or I don't know. I do like the fact that we have it on the calendar, though. I feel like it, before there was just too much space between meetings, although having one in February now is going to alleviate that some.
Would that be something that would need to be added to the bylaws to make that an optional thing and discussed in October, or?
Technically not.
Okay.
We would just consider it a canceled meeting if we decided to not. If there wasn't any agenda items for October, we would just cancel or for November, we would just cancel the November meeting. So I don't think it needs to be written into the bylaws.
Okay.
I can double check on that. If the consensus is that we aren't meeting in November, I can always go back and change this again. So I can check with the city clerk about that, but I don't think it needs to be written in the bylaws. I think it could just be considered a canceled meeting.
And I see a good reason to keep November in the bylaws, because in the future we may have a situation where we want to discuss end-of-year purchases or something like that. I think this year our end-of-year money is being tied up in the roundabout project, but in the future we may have more flexibility with what we might want to purchase and everything. So I do think the November meeting is a good idea to keep in the bylaws.
Okay. No, you're fine. Okay. How about Councilman Member Taylor? Give us an update on the 2025 artwork purchase.
Of course, I get to go on right when the train's going. But this does give me a good opportunity to formally introduce myself to you all, as I'm usually just the quiet figure over here lurking in the corner. But I'm Amanda Taylor, and I'm a Fallon City Council member for Ward 4, and also the council's liaison for the Cultural Arts Commission. And as a liaison, it is kind of my role to make sure that communications flows both ways between bringing back what I learned here to the council and vice versa. So I guess to begin, I should probably step back a little bit to give you a full picture. Last August city council meeting, we voted to approve up to $60,000 for the roundabout beautification, which Mr. Jabel came last month's meeting to present it to you all. And I voted against it. Not because I don't appreciate art, I certainly do. I think, in fact, this was my top choice to be liaison for on the commission. I have a daughter who's a big thespian. She's in the drama club and does plays at Fort Zumwalt West High. And I even encouraged one of my best friends, Mr. Fogarty, a talented artist over there, to join the commission. So it's something I was extremely excited to be a part of. But I voted no against the beautification for the roundabout because I didn't believe that we should be pulling money that is needed for our roads from general funds when road repairs are already drastically underfunded. In my ward and in cross areas in O'Fallon, a lot of our roads are in extremely poor shape. And we just don't have the budget that's sufficient enough to keep up with those. So to put in perspective, a neighboring city of ours has double the budget for roads than we do in O'Fallon, with half the population we do. And even then, they say it's not enough to keep up with their roads. So it's something that I've been very vocal about since I joined the council, pushing to increase that budget. And yeah, so that gives you a little background for that. So when I attended the meeting last month, and listened to Mr. Jabel's presentation, your discussions, and particularly your discussions on art purchases, I had some concerns that I brought back to the council. First concern was why we were using general funds to purchase a piece of art for the roundabout when we have a CAC art purchase budget for specifically for purchases like that. And second, my concern was, why weren't you all, our experts, our art advisors, not brought into the process from the very start of that? So long story short, we discussed it as a council, brought it to a workshop, and decided that instead of dipping into, for our roads money into our general funds, that a portion of the CAC's art purchase budget would be used for that roundabout piece, specifically $15,000 of it. We had decided that since you all already approved the bench purchase for 10K, we thought it would be, we wouldn't want to impede on that purchase, so that's where the $15,000 came from for that. And more importantly, I made sure to emphasize that moving forward, whenever art is considered to be purchased for the roundabout or any other public areas in O'Fallon, that the Cultural Arts Commission must be part of that conversation from the beginning, that we have this commission for a reason. You give your time up to be here, and we appreciate that, and then I think you should be part of that conversation. So I just wanted to let you all know where we're at, and if you have any questions or comments, I'd be glad to hear them.
Thank you. You're taking over now.
Can you clarify that the money from the cultural arts budget is purchasing the sculpture that was already picked out by the city council?
Yes, it's that sculpture that he gave during his presentation to you, Mr. Jabel did. I had thought about that because I remember during that meeting, a couple of you actually commented that you were glad that that piece was picked and that it would fit there well. So that's why I really didn't pursue that, because I thought just from listening to your conversations, that it was something that you agreed with. If I was wrong, please let me know.
Well, and I just wanted to say, Councilmember Taylor was very communicative with me, and there really wasn't anything for me to bring back to the rest of the board, because at the end of the day, kind of the buck stops with the city council, and if they wanted to use some of our funds for this project, they would be the ones to approve it. But I was brought into the conversation the whole time, and I had a conversation with Tom too, about, and kind of put his mind at ease after Councilmember Taylor brought me into the know of what was going on, to let him know that I personally, and I don't speak for the entire board, but I personally didn't have a problem with the leftover funds after the Noble Wind benches going to this sculpture, because that is honestly what our monies are for, is to purchase artwork for the city. So it made sense to me, and even though it wasn't something that we were going to have a vote on or anything like that, I was appreciative that it was at least brought to a member of the board, and at least so we kind of knew what was going on a little bit. And in the future, hopefully, we'll know a little bit more earlier than what we did. Anybody else have any questions about it? Comments? All right. You want me to finish them?
Sure. We'll split it.
Okay. I suppose we would be moving on to new business, the marketing presentation. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. How are you all? Good? Yeah? Okay. We love to hear it. My name is Kristen. I am the Community Engagement Manager for the O'Fallon Parks and Recreation Departments. I'm really here tonight to just give you a high-level touch point of our marketing efforts. I know a couple of meetings ago, some different questions were asked. That feedback always comes back to me. Jenna, Mariah, and Jennifer and I talk all the time. We're in the same hallway. But we thought it might be beneficial for me to officially come say hi. Very sorry, it's 4 years after I started. We're getting the hang of how to implement everything. And just kind of show you what we've been doing, and where we hope to go, and kind of how it just all functions behind the scenes. And I love that we're already kind of thinking that way for next year, so I appreciate that feedback. And I know we talked, and anytime anybody has any thoughts, questions, you can funnel them my way. But so this is me. You'll see Kristen Funderburk, you'll see Kristen Chestnut, and I'll apologize for the confusion. I am in the process of changing my name. But regardless, it is all me that is managing the marketing, sponsorship, and community outreach of our department. But I also have two girls under me who don't have really anything to do with marketing and sponsorship at all. But I will always bring them along for my ride and make sure people know that we are team fun. So Caitlin Elzer oversees concessions and birthday parties. So the birthday parties at Alligators Creek, the Renan Center, and then all of our concession stands funnel under her and I. And then Allie McCulloch oversees O'Fallon venues and weddings. So rentals, programs and events at O'Day, Krekel, all of the pavilions. She is kind of supporting Mariah and Jenna and Jennifer, along with others in the department when they are booking events in the park. So FITA and the Lodge, really a lot of that beautiful venue, we can attribute to Allie and her team's hard work, along with our park staff. So that is kind of us and who we are. Our online presence, kind of was all over the place. So backstory for you guys, there was no one spearheading Parks and Recreation marketing until Craig introduced my position to the department. That's not uncommon. However, when you have 16 to 17 full-time positions trying to market their individual, aquatics, athletics, cultural arts, tourism and festivals, etc. programming, it can get a little not cohesive. And so I came in, Craig brought me in, and I get the pleasure to work with everybody in all the areas. and supervise 6 different social media pages for our department. So it is a lot for one person to handle, but that is always me. If you see something being shared on the Parks and Recreation, Renaud Center, or O'Fallon Theater Works pages, it is me, and then the support of some of our other team members as well. But to kind of give you that, again, high level, how it's working, anything and everything that we are doing in our department gets space on the Parks and Recreation pages. So again, like I said, we have aquatics, athletics, fitness, cultural arts, tourism and festivals, special one-day recreation events, birthday parties, venue rentals. That is all sharing a platform together because that is who we are, and it all needs to be represented. We then break out a couple of our programs and facilities that we think have enough to stand alone on their own, or their own programming or specialty, if you will, or their own audience niche, that we need to pull them out. And so the Renaud Center being very membership driven, we really market memberships heavily over there, as well as programs and events. So they have their own Facebook and Instagram, and then O'Fallon Theater Works, that's just a very creative outlet. We're trying to push those ticket sales. They kind of flow one after the other, and it's a rolling story that we are trying to sell and tell. So we give them their own pages as well. However, there's a lot of cross promotion that goes on with that, and I say that because, for example, there is art in the Renaud Center. We're going to talk about that art on the Renaud Center page, not just the Parks and Recreation page. We're going to promote O'Fallon Theater Works on the Parks and Recreation page as well, not just on the OTW pages, because people may not be following all 3. People may not realize something exists somewhere, or people may have caught something because they know someone or they toured our facility, and then they get to learn more and get more connected. So that's kind of the puzzle that I'm putting together every single week, month, day, year, and what my thought process is as we're building that content. And then, of course, we're always looking at the numbers on the back end as well. So views versus reach, obviously we want to reach people. When we have events like FITA, and I'm kind of jumping ahead, but FITA and, maybe our food truck events where they're not ticketed, that reach and that number growing is really, really important, because that means people are seeing that we are having something where we don't necessarily have a ticket sale to see how it's going, right? Versus OTW, like, I still care about the reach, but I also want that ROI because I can truly see if they're clicking and purchasing. So views and reach are something that we look at. Interactions, we obviously want people to interact because we all know the word algorithm when it comes to social media, and if things are interacted with, so comments, likes, shares, that just helps the Facebook brain kind of know that, hey, people might also want to see this, so let me toss it on someone else's feed. I will say the O'Fallon Theater Works page, I will give a huge shout out to this last cast crew team. I'm not even sure. They had awesome interaction, and it allowed for a lot of the posts that we were putting out there to really, I think, get some good traction and reach. That is a super busy time of year with those first 2 weekends in September, and I think we all were really excited to see that show have that kind of success, and that cast was very bought in and participated extremely well with what we had going on, both behind the scenes and then once it got onto the platform, and that makes a true difference. And then I'm also obviously looking at our audience demographics. So we have a captivated audience on the O'Fallon Theater Work page who obviously have a tie and love and connection to cultural arts in the theater, so we do cross-promote things like Shakespeare in the park down at O'Day, or Fall into the Arts on that page as well, because there would be a shared interest. Does anybody have any questions before I kind of just dive into some examples?
Do you have any sort of like incentive with like the interaction? So with people interacting on the post with liking, commenting, sharing, is there any sort of like, oh, share this to your friends to get something, or do anything to maybe grab
more like a giveaway kind of
Right,
style.
sort of like
We have tried that before in the past, more so on the Renaud page than anything, and we haven't seen a ton of interest in that. But I actually was just talking to Jenna and Mariah, I think yesterday, about some different ideas and trying that out on some of our parks pages and such for different events is something we're teeing up. You kind of have to be careful and make sure it's something people will click with and interact with, because if you say, click this, share this, do this, Facebook's like, not a fan. So it needs to be like the right kind of engagement piece. So not against it, definitely still on our radar, but we have teed it up a little bit in the past, and it's hit or miss. Yeah.
Has there been a dedicated, I feel like I remember there being a cultural arts like carve out that was on its own at one point in time. And I feel like that almost feels more beneficial than having it within the Parks and Rec, because I don't envision cultural arts as a Parks and Rec. Like if I hear the word Parks and Recreation, I don't think cultural arts, and I feel like it gets lost in the noise. It's just personally. So I didn't know if there was ever any incentive to have, because I know that O'Fallon Theater works. I'm glad they have their own space, because it really kind of needs to be there, especially for them. And I almost wonder if that would work for certain cultural arts events.
So you are not wrong. There was one. When I got here, there was a cultural arts page. There actually were, I want to say, 2 or 3 additional pages in addition to the 3 I just mentioned that were not being well managed. And so we kind of decided when I got here because again, being one person trying to manage all this and be the voice, streamline as best we could. And the decision was made to make that Parks and Recreation umbrella based off of content that was being put out, shown, produced, and what was going on with all of these other pages. And I say that way, not to say, no, we can't do it. This is how we've decided we want to do it. But a successful page needs to constantly have content going out on it and being produced. And so in adding that, if that is something we consider in the future, that is just another, 4 to 5 times a week worth of content. And it's not to say we don't have it, but it's just another place for people to try to find information where you're chopping things up a little bit more and trying to make it all work together, but also work separately at the same time. Does that make sense? Does that answer?
Oh, yeah. And I know if you're talking about the timeline that you came in, I remember during that time, we didn't have as much going on in cultural arts, not as much year round. So I could definitely see how that streamlining occurred and how it made sense then. I was more like wondering if there becomes kind of a tipping point within, because we have a few more items going on now with FITA, the rotating sculpture series, and we have almost quarterly gallery switchovers and stuff like that. Just there might be a point in time where it might be an idea.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and it definitely always lives in the back. Like I said, that page did exist. It still does exist. Truthfully, it's just kind of turned off, if you will. But I work very closely with our communications department. Tony Machaca and his team also kind of have a hand, I guess, if you will. They let me have the voice of our pages, but they're also back there just kind of helping with some administrative stuff. And Tony and I do still have a hand on that page. So it didn't just go away, but it's just kind of been hidden in the back. So that way, if we ever do need to consider reintroducing something, that foundation is still there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Kristen, you're doing a great job. Doing a fantastic job. Have we considered ever doing anything on the platform formerly known as Twitter or X, or even, dare I say, TikTok?
So TikTok, we cannot. That has a very cut and dry explanation. So Sunshine Law, we have to be able to archive everything we do, and that includes social media, and TikTok cannot be archived. So that's kind of the dead end there, hard stop. So we do try to make it like content on Reels, which is one of the things we'll talk about next. But
or we could just cross-post it
Yes,
if we did.
that's-
It
yep.
wouldn't require too much more work. I wonder, this might not be true, but I wonder, since TikTok in America is being sold to American owners and they're supposedly changing a lot of things in the back end, if perhaps it might be changing what is possible when it comes to archiving.
If that changes, then I definitely think the whole story changes. Pending, again, Tony Machaca kind of keeps the hard overview on our policies. If something like that were to change, I'm sure he would open the door to the conversation. I know Lauren Borgmeyer up in communications, and I would love to make so many more different reels and content. So you almost don't want to give us that power sometimes.
And have we? I mean, I think this makes even less sense time-wise because you might need to do different stuff. But have we considered an X account, Twitter for regular people who don't call it X yet?
The Parks and Rec page used to have one. We just kind of opted to eliminate it. It didn't really get a lot of traction. That platform's a lot more conversational, and we're a lot more visual, informative. And so that micro blog kind of verbal just wasn't quite the right fit for what we were doing and who we were trying to reach.
Do we post the great videos like one you might talk about? Do we ever post them on YouTube Shorts?
We do not actually. I personally don't do a whole lot with YouTube. However, OFallonTV does a decent bit, and so that's definitely something. We have a phenomenal TV department and video crew that does a lot of that, those visuals for us. So we can look into working with Kevin about that.
Some of the high performers, it can be the exact same video that we post on Instagram, but to put it on the city's YouTube, on the YouTube Shorts.
Okay, absolutely.
YouTube's try to push a lot of people towards YouTube Shorts, you know?
Okay,
Put a lot of money into it. A lot of people watch them.
Yeah, no, definitely. We will look into that. Thank you. So with that, this little guy, just give you a couple of examples of some really awesome, posts that I feel like did very well, and I will give credit where credit is due. This is the cast of Six, the musical, Teen Edition, which was our summer youth musical, and Taylor, our wonderful director, and her team really capitalized on a popular trend that if you know, you know, and if you don't, I'll explain, but where a group of people sit together and all but one of them lip sync the song, and you're supposed to guess who is the actual one singing. So they had a lot of fun with this, and truthfully, I am still blown away every time I read it. They had 1.4 million views, which is pretty much, if this is where all our posts are, this one is way out here as a benchmark. So 4,500 interactions is awesome. And again, the reason it worked is because it is a popular trend, especially with the age demographic that was participating. And that show specifically is just so popular right now that anything having to do with it, if you've interacted with that musical, I know for me, I love the show. I went and saw it at the Fox, and then I was singing along, doing all the content here with Taylor, and my feed was just showing me nothing but that musical nonstop, and I loved it. Another one for our most recent, this is more on the upper side of where we're normally falling. One thing I've really tried to do with our theater directors is show more of who and what is going on with the shows. So not so passive. Obviously, we want to sell tickets. We want them to see the beautiful artwork posters that Communications makes for us and understand what the show is. But part of what makes community theater so great is the community that is in the theater, right? So this is just one we did. I really try to sit down with each of the directors and understand each show and learn a little bit more about the characters. Admittedly, the Curious Savage was a fun bunch to get to work with, very eccentric characters. And so this is just one. Fairy May was a little bit more of a whimsical individual on stage, and so we played Two Truths and a Lie. This is the kind of engaging post, to go back to your question, where we do get a little bit more traction. And it kind of played into the show. It teased who she might be. Didn't really give away any spoilers, but then also it's fun. It's cute. It helps you kind of get to know the character before you get into the theater.
One recommendation that I have with just engagement is maybe like doing some sort of poll or story on Instagram. Just with my engagement, I will notice that my views and my interactions will go down if I don't post a story. And there are a lot of like little engagement, like vote or add a comment, add a like little things that you can add on Instagram that will kind of like you could have had like, oh, 2 truths and a lie, and it had be like 2 like little bullet points on like voting, I guess. And so like that's what I would do. Like if I saw that post, like I would vote on it on like a story setting, but I don't think I would personally vote in like a comment section, if that makes sense.
Yes, no, Instagram stories is really good for some of those little tidbits you can add. Like she's referencing those polls where people can click, you can have people type in, answers to something, they can vote, there's a lot of different little nuggets that you can add in. And definitely on our radar, again, Lauren upstairs in communication is kind of the city's social media main point of contact, and that's something she's working on implementing as well. Total sidebar, Instagram doesn't always let you schedule that kind of stuff. You have to post it live, and it's just one of those little pet peeves of mine that I'm like, come on, your content creators need your help. But yes, all things to consider that are on our radar, so thank you. Just then some other marketing avenues. Social media gets a lot of attention, a lot of push. It is important. It's a big one, but it's not the only one. So we do some digital communications. The Renaud Center has a very large membership email blast database. Between 6,500 to 7,000 emails that I get to send something out to every month. So we definitely make sure that all Parks and Rec stuff, including cultural arts, is included in that with click-through links to get to the appropriate pages or Facebook events. The communication team sends out a weekly email blast, and then we also have Google reviews that we actually get a good flow of Google reviews for all of our parks and facilities constantly, and we'll see an uptick kind of with this building as people come to the theater. When we have FITA, you'll see an uptick over at O'Day. So you definitely can see when people are visiting for very specific reasons. For print marketing, that is also still important because, again, you just want to hit people a couple of times. So we have park bulletin boards, we have Renaud Center flyers and wall tables. Again, the Renaud Center might be about very focused on family fitness and aquatics, but it gets all of the attention for marketing for all of our stuff because it's definitely not a group we want to miss out getting in front of. And then we also introduced a printed senior circle newsletter down at the Renaud Center this year, which has I think done pretty well. We've seen a little bit of an uptick in some of our senior programming registrations as a result of kind of having a tangible thing they can pick up when they come in for coffee or their workout class. And so we actually did a whole spotlight on our new gallery artists. I think back it was the first quarter one maybe when we did one of our last opening receptions or closing receptions. I can't totally remember, but and I think they appreciated getting to learn a little bit more that way because we normally focus a lot of that on social and they're not necessarily reading it there, and we still want them to meet our artists as well. Paid advertisements, so community news, Mid-Rivers Magazine, etc. Billboards on Highway K and Highway 64. There's also LED boards throughout the city at various parks. We have TVs and buildings as well. If you come in that back entrance there's one that's usually rotating a lot of our slides, and a couple in the Renaud Center as well. So that's all the places off the top of my head that we're hitting. And then I just wanted to throw up some examples of some things we've done in the past, and just give you a different idea of all the different stuff we're making. So this was the postcard and the TV slide that we sent out for when we did the Olympic Art Gallery opening. I just really love this one. It's always gonna be one of my favorites with that particular image, so I'll show it off anytime I can. Just some snippets of marketing and then photos from when we had our Paint Your Partner portrait class earlier this year with one of our featured artists, so that was very fun and something different, I think, in the month of February that it caught people's attention. And then FITA, again, so FITA gets all the normals, but the billboard is kind of that longer piece you're seeing at the bottom. We do a handful of those that kind of change and rotate depending on how far out we are from the event. That piece above that is an example of what some of our print ads look like, and then digital as well. So then just some challenges and opportunities that I have kind of going on with our social media and marketing. Time, again, building content for 6 pages actually takes me a lot longer than I wish it would at times. And then visuals. So I'm trying to get photos and videos, from 18 different pillars within the department. And that can be a challenge at times when there's only one of you. But we are Parks and Recreation. We are cultural arts. We are all those things. And I always say I'm with the fun, group in the city. Not that the rest aren't fun, but we literally, like, our whole thing is let's get people to play, right? And so capitalizing on some of those popular trends and being creative, I think, are 2 of our biggest assets that we have. And I'm just really excited to see so many people buy into it, again, especially on the OTW side, and seeing it work out and pay off, so then hopefully others can see, oh, she's not just bothering me wanting photos. Like, there's really something going on when she asks me to be in this video. So, and again, so like I said, I just like to throw this one in there because marketing, it all kind of funnels under me, but nothing that I do would be possible without the people who actually do all of it. So I stand up here and say, hey, look at what we're doing, but it's all because they're putting on great programs, events, putting awesome artists into the mix, and putting great productions on the stage. So everything that I'm showing you is actually the result of everybody else and what they're doing. So make sure you follow us. These are the pages. Can't say that you didn't get them now, so.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
This was a really good overview of all the different avenues that we're engaging with people in the community. Would you be able to email us this presentation?
Absolutely. Mariah can help me do that. Yay. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Kristen, I want to say, give you another piece of praise. I think this is, I only noticed it this year, but I think it's very cool now that the profile picture changes for the OTW shows based on the theme. I think it's very cool.
Thank you.
And very
I love
aesthetic.
that. It's fun. It just kind of lets you get some new life into the page each time. And if you're not sure what he's talking about, go follow OTW, because that's about to flip and be Christmas.
Can I give two more quick ideas? One, on the OTW side, I think that it should become, kind of standard operating procedure. Maybe Dana can enact this SOP, that the directors are enfranchising someone on the cast who's like social media captain, who it's, they're volunteering their time and it's their job to help record pictures and video that gets passed to Kristen and used, especially for, I know that the woman who directed 6 is a relatively young woman, but some of the other directors who maybe aren't social media fluent or it's not their first language, I bet there is someone in their cast who is. And so making that a thing that it's like when you cast the show, a question you ask in the form is like, do you like social media? And if they do, then if you get cast, you're tree number 2 and your social media captain. So it's a big win.
And there's real value to that too, because like I said, one thing I feel like that I try to prioritize is showing the who behind all of these pages. And I know 6, Dana would know 6, everybody, we know the show, but that cast is 6. And so if there's somebody, and I'm using them as an example because Taylor did actually appoint, I think she called them spirit captains. They were awesome to work with. But it was then in their voice there, and that plays into the show because the show is in their voice. So absolutely.
And then one idea, just in general, because it's like obviously when you're trying to advertise like an art installation or something, that's not a person who can talk, so it's a little harder. But what a type of video that I think would be very successful is during the times when the art transfers, which is a couple times a year, to set up the camera, set up the phone of the person taking off and putting on, literally hammering on all the art. That's a very satisfying thing to watch, is all the art coming down and then all the art going up.
Mm-hmm. So almost like a time lapse of the gallery.
I think that could be a successful.
That could be a lot of fun. We will tap into communications to help us with that idea for sure.
I think also want to piggyback off that. A lot of times with social media, it's very fast moving, and I myself struggle getting to the trends before they've died off. So is there an email or a text or even an Instagram that if I see a funny little trend, I could send it to one of these pages and be like, hey, we should make this video. Cultural Arts Commission video. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you can send them to me. The best thing would probably be email, which my email is, we can get that to you guys easy peasy. And then, but you're welcome to send it to any of the pages as well. I try to supervise those inbox or oversee those inboxes as much as I possibly can.
like no recommendation you have to take. It's just like, maybe this would be fun, you know?
That's
Like
how creativity
the timeline
works, right? The
videos,
bouncing,
or time-lapse videos, like that's a really good idea.
Yeah, nope, I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I know we've thrown a lot of ideas of our own at you, even though you're more of an expert in this than any of us. But I appreciate you taking the time to listen to even our ideas. And I know you are one person kind of at the till, and I personally really appreciate it. And
Thank you.
The arts are such a word of mouth type. I mean, everything's word of mouth is best, but when it comes to marketing, but the arts are hard to market. So you're doing a good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Can I give you one more unsolicited piece of advice, Kristen, or idea? You ready?
Yeah.
Here's an idea. And last year I know that the Christmas show sold really well through OTW, so maybe they don't need any help and they'll just sell great, which I hope is true. But just since people love, love Celebration of Lights so much, of just figuring out any way to tie in some promotion of the Christmas show into Celebration of Lights, and it could be an opportunity for that giveaway, where it's like you're getting for some person who's buying a holiday stroll ticket gets a ticket to the Christmas show. But
Yeah.
I think there's some synergies there that
Yes.
we can exploit for the good of the city.
Yes, and I think we do the holidays very well, and there's definitely opportunity there. So Jenna and I will look into that. Yay. Okay.
One more thing, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
Carol. So recently there was, I know this is completely separate, but like I think it's called like Tacos and Tequila Festival came. And I know that was like nothing to do with O'Fallon or like their, I guess, people put on, like it was just that festival coming in.
Yeah.
However, every time I even spoke the words tacos and tequila, it came up on my phone, and then I would like see ads for it. There's another event that's like the night festival thing that's like in some Cedar Lake cellars. It's like anyway, doesn't matter. Anytime I like click on this event, it would just automatically give me more information. So I don't know if there's like with the Freedom and Heritage Festival or the Fall into the Arts or the holiday strolls to maybe make like a geofenced ad or like a video of like maybe a 5 to 10 second clip of like everyone having a great time ad. Because I see those on my phone all the time, and even if I click on something one time, it'll show me it a million times over. So
Isn't that the scariest, best part of marketing now? You're like, oh, I need shoes. And then it's like, here's
Everything you need.
7,000 pairs from places you've never heard. No, we are starting to dip our toes into the digital advertising a little bit more. And geofencing is one of those things. No, it's a lot. There is a lot to learn. That's actually also just some back burner OCVB kind of things that are in the works with Jennifer and that crew to really learn and capitalize on all that data you didn't know that you were giving us. So, yeah, awesome. Well, thank you guys. We will make sure Mariah helps me get this presentation out, and you guys have all my emails in case you have any questions or ideas. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, and that will move us on to all other items. If anybody else has anything to add to the conversation this evening.
I've spoken too much, Kevin. I'm going to speak anyway, just since we're prudently not doing a November meeting. Got to get all the speaking out now. So, do we have an idea yet, team over there, Jennifer? So I know that hopefully these theater renovations are happening in the early 2026, and so there's probably no OTW show until the fall, or until just because they need time to get everything done.
Yeah. So for sure, we're definitely planning on a fall and a holiday show for next year. The summer show's going to be so up in the air. We are currently budgeted to be able to do 3. I don't know if the construction schedule will allow. But we have some potential other fun ideas that are maybe potentially cooking. But we'll have to kind of see on that one. We're still in the drawing. I don't know if drawing phases is the right even word. Right now, for, I guess, a little bit of a status update on that, we've sat down with the OTW directors and kind of reviewed the potential renovation plan and schematics and things like that, and sent comments back to the architect for revisions on the layout and things like that for upstairs. Haven't gotten those back yet that I'm aware of. So wheels are moving. It's a very slow moving process, but things are happening, I promise. But to answer your question, Noah, yeah, as of now, we are 100% planning on a fall and a holiday show next year. Summer is going to probably be a pretty tight turnaround, but we'll see.
In an ideal world, like, they're breaking ground, which isn't the proper thing because it's inside. They're breaking gymnasium on like in January.
It's a theater, Noah.
That's right. It's a well, wait, after this renovation, it really will be. But they're breaking gymnasium in January, or because obviously the Christmas show has to finish, and then you have the New Year, and then if everything's ready, that's when they get started.
Yeah. Jennifer just said it's dependent on receiving the drawings and things. I think it would be more so of a celebration of some sort when it opens for the like post renovation than it would be a quote unquote groundbreaking, if you will.
Oh no, that's not what I meant. I just meant they'll start work, like the actual, like they'll get to the building, or they'll physically start removing and moving things in January would be the hope. Or no, I'm asking you. I could be wrong.
I'm going to jump in here. So we are at the point where, as Jenna said, the renovation suggestions that we were speaking with the directors about, because they are the ones who are ultimately going to be using that space. And it's all about flow and how you use that space. So we want to make sure that we are providing the very best product possible based on the space limitations that we do have. And so it is very key that we get this right now.
Get it right the first time, definitely.
Because there is no going back.
Measure
so
twice, as they say.
it is, so it is very important that, city staff look at it, but it was also very important that we got the director's input on that. So they gave us a lot of great feedback. We were able to go back and, write in our own edits, and then submitted it to Chris Clerks, who is the project lead on this, and he then submitted that to the architect. And the architect has received it, and he is in the process of cleaning all that up. When we receive that back, I do not know. I will probably be reaching out next week to see where he is on that. And then from that point is when I would be asking, what are those next steps? I don't want to say we are going to be breaking ground per se in January. I can just say our next step is receiving back the information of a cleaned up revision. And then from there, it would be getting into the bidding process for doing all of the actual construction. And the bidding process will take a little bit as well.
That makes a ton of sense. And then do we have even a theoretical timeline of once construction starts? I mean, it seems to me like it'd be, if they did it in 3 months, I'd be extremely impressed at how fast that would go. But
I think it's really going to depend on what the actual design ends up being.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just one quick hit. Any appetite for an outdoor summer show at O'Day?
Don't ruin our surprise. Maybe, yes. That's we're kind of discussing that to see if that's a possibility. With the list of shows we had sort of kind of previously selected for 2026, those were suggested and voted on in the hopes, wishes, and dreams that they would be in the theater upstairs. So a lot of those titles aren't really conducive to holding at an outdoor facility. So yes, the directors have been asked to come back to us with some titles that they think would maybe be conducive to a show out at O'Day. Definitely something on the table, something we're discussing. We don't have anything set in stone for it yet, but I think that's a collective amongst a lot of staff on our end, the directors as well, that we think that would be a really cool addition.
Nice. Any other items to discuss? At this point, we'd seek a motion to adjourn.
Fogarty, motion to adjourn.
Latimer, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.